Greetings, everyone. All right, so let's look at what is called correlation coefficient. And you might remember seeing scatter plots in your previous class. Okay, and so what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at different pictures, and we're going to be talking about what those pictures represent. All right, so let's start off with this first picture. So right now you can see that there's a bunch of dots. It looks like a scatter plot, but hopefully what you're seeing is blatantly obvious that we have a straight line that from going left to right is going uphill in a positive direction. All right, we describe those dots, the relationship, as having what's called a perfect positive correlation. Okay, meaning that when you gathered all of your data, when you plotted those points on a scatter plot, basically drew a perfect straight line. Okay. All right. So obviously, when we collect data, this doesn't always happen. It doesn't always necessarily go in a positive direction. So let's look at the second one. And you can see now, all right, I've got dots, but now they're going, if I look left to right, they are going downhill, all right, which gives me a perfect negative correlation. So when I gathered all of my data, plotted my points, I now have this downward trend, which means I have a perfect negative correlation. All right, so what happens or how do we describe when we don't have this perfect line? Okay, and you're going to get lots of opportunities on Delta Math to do this. Okay, because it's simply a multiple choice assignment where you are just looking at the dots and saying, okay, what do I have? All right, so now let's look at this example here. Okay, so my dots are just all over the place. Okay, so maybe I went in and I surveyed all of the students at URI Charter and I was looking for a pattern or I was hoping for a pattern, but this is what I ended up with. All the dots are all over each other, all over the place. There's no, if I were to take a thin piece of spaghetti and lay it down, these dots are not kind of congregating near each other, especially like they were in the previous two slides. Okay. So if you have this case, you have what's called no correlation. Okay. Because we're trying to get these dots, we're trying to visualize a line. We're trying to imagine if I were to start connecting the dots, would I connect the dots in some type of line that's going uphill or downhill? All right. So we have no correlation here. So let's go to the second one, this next one. All right. Now, this one, okay, we kind of look at it and you can kind of see, all right, you've got here on the left, if I'm starting on the left side, we've got some points that are up here. Okay, so up towards the top. If I move this way, the points now are kind of in the middle. And then if I move this way, the points are kind of down low. So if I had to draw a line that went right through the points, okay, then, and if I bring up, let's see if I can bring up my pen. Okay, if I were to draw a line like right here, those lines are kind of going downhill. Okay. Now, notice the words I have over here. I have negative correlation, but in the previous slide, when all the dots were right slam on top of the line, okay, I said it was perfect. This one, these dots that are here, they're just too far away from the line, but the dots are still kind of trending downward. So I have what's called a weak negative correlation. Okay. All right. So now let's look at this next picture. All right. So again, it's weak, but I do have a positive correlation. What do I mean by that? Okay. So look here over at the left. I know I've got some dots up here, but I've got some of these dots here are on the low side. But as I move left to right, okay, so if you're moving this way, the dots are going upwards, okay, and they're hanging out up here. So if I were to draw a line, okay, yeah, these dots are not that close, but these dots are starting to get closer and closer, but it's still weak. Okay. It's not perfect, but it's weak. And then I would say positive correlation because it looks like my points are going in a positive direction. Okay. So now if it's not perfect and it's not weak, what does that leave us with? All right. And then this is what we would call strong negative correlation because it's real easy now. If I were to draw, and that's not even the best line. Let me see if I can erase that. Okay. Do, do, do. Okay. If I were to draw a line right through here, I mean, look how close all of the points are to this line. Those points are really, really close to that red line. So in this case, I have a strong negative correlation. Okay. And then the reverse would be true. If I were to have dots that were congregating, okay, in an upward direction, it would be positive, strong positive correlation. Okay. All right, so just make sure you are okay with these choices. Okay, I am going to attach a PDF of this PowerPoint into your Canvas assignment, but when you switch over here to Delta Math, all right, discard. Let me see if I can get Delta Math to pull up over here. Here we go. Let me bring Delta Math up. Okay, here's the nice thing is that you're just going to be given a picture and then you're just going to pick from the drop down. Okay. And that's all you're going to be doing. So in this case, this one, I would say it has no correlation. And then I'll just click submit my answer. And there it is. Okay. You are going to notice there's this R value here, this numerical value. Pay attention to that. Okay. We're going to talk about that later. But for our purposes right now, I just want you to analyze the picture. All right. Good luck, you guys.